And so we ask ourselves, will our actions echo across the centuries?
All right, take two. We're not talking about that meme.
We are not talking about that meme.
I haven't heard of it, but I don't know.
Oh, dude, no, this is funny. It's just a shitpost. But no. So how was summer camp?
Summer camp was good. It was so I went to like Marine Corps.
Bosnia.
Yeah, I went to Bosnia to learn how to conduct close air support. And
played Arma 3 for 27 hours straight a day.
So many gun runs. No, we did the one of the Marine Corps TCP courses to be the JTAC. And first of all, I didn't know that it was really rare for comm guys to go through this course.
Really?
Yeah, so it's like the standard pipeline for guys to do it are like forward observers, like artillery forward observers, and pilots, because pilots have to do a ground tour. So like in the Marine Corps, at least, in the Air Force, and I think in the Army and in the Navy. Well, there was a Navy guy in my class, but he was doing something interesting, but kind of out of the norm. Most pilots outside of the Marine Corps, they join and they do like a flight contract, and that's that. They fly and they're in the cockpit until they get out, or they might command like a squadron or whatever. But they're in the cockpit for a long time. But in the Marine Corps, they want all pilots to do a ground tour. So then they have to become like JTAC certified, basically, and then go become air officers at some ground unit. So most of the guys in my class were pilots. But yeah, I didn't know that it was fairly uncommon for comm guys to go do it, because it's not really in like the normal pipeline of our like career progression.
What is the pipeline of your career progression?
So for me as like a radio operator, I would be, so comm is kind of weird because like you can go pretty much anywhere. Like me, I've been in an infantry unit, so I was a line company RO, just like a dude in a regular infantry company, and then I was the like the radio chief for our battalion for a little while, and then normally from there, like once you pick up rank, like once you become a staff sergeant, you would go and become like an 0629, which is like a radio chief, and then you would do that, and then eventually you would become like a communications chief. So you would go from doing like all the radio planning stuff, which is what I did at the end of my time with the 6, do like all the radio planning stuff, and then you go into like advanced courses and learn a little bit more on how to plan like all of the communication infrastructure. And you can do that at like the battalion level or the regiment or even the divisional level, where you are doing like all of the comm planning stuff. You're generally the EKMS manager, so you are in charge of like all the secure stuff, so like all the crypto and all that, kind of like all the boring stuff.
Yeah, S6.
Yeah, so I was fortunate
enough this sounds
to be in the right place at the right time and end up going down this road. Like because I went to JFO a couple of years ago, so I've been at JFO now for like almost 3 years. So a Joint Fires Observer is like diet assistant to the JTAC. Like I could do like all surface, or as a JFO, I could do all surface to surface stuff. So artillery, mortars, naval guns, HIMARS, and then I could do like targeting data for a JTAC and like recommend attack geometries. I could talk an aircraft onto a target. I could like do the correlation aspect. So either talk them onto a target or lays the target for them, or do whatever. If you're a good JFO and like you have good mentors, you can theoretically do the whole like CAS mission, but they would just have to clear the aircraft hot. So you can't do that as a JFO. So like last year, I did a pretty decent amount of like fixed wing and rotary wing fire missions and all that stuff, and so it was a good time. But yeah, we did like mostly. So we actually it's like a new like course schedule. So before it was a lot of like you'd like do all the PowerPoints and learn how to do everything, and then you do all the sim evaluations in like this big sim room. That's basically like an Arma mod.
So cool.
Yeah, it's like a first person thing, and you have like all your equipment that's in real life. Like you have a real PLDR, which is like your laser designator, and you have a real ISLID and things like that. And then when you put it on the screen, like you have a real CLRF to get like grids and stuff. When you put it on the screen, it like is all synced up. It's a pretty cool system. And then they have like little aircraft that they can fly around and put them wherever you route them to, and hold and conduct your missions, and like you can see the aircraft come in and drop the ordnance and everything, which is cool. But yeah, so you do like your evaluated sims, and then you do like your testing stuff, like paper testing, and then you go do the live fire portion. But they changed it now to where it's kind of all integrated. Like you do like your lessons on some stuff, and then you'll do like an evaluated sim, and then you'll do like some more lessons on stuff, then you'll do like an evaluated sim. You do that, and then you take your final test, and then you go to the live fire portion and knock that out, and that's that.
And then they kill you.
Yeah, and then they take you out back and shoot you.
Yeah, for wasting their time.
Yeah, literally. Like, oh, we just passed you because it was funny.
While you were gone, just to kind of catch you up on world events, Obama's president for life now.
Perfect.
Yeah, he ate Joe Biden. Donald Trump got hit by a spitball in
Was it from Obama?
No. Allegedly not. But it could have been.
I also saw something about like the CIA documents on JFK's assassination got declassified, and it turns out his head just did that. Like nobody actually shot him.
I told you it did that.
Yeah, he did. I could have sworn
it's
before
the Kennedy curse. You know what it is? So you know how there were all those
COVID?
memes about RFK Jr. having the worm in his brain?
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure when the worm has to leave its body, like in an emergency, it just detonates the like we need to look at the Zapprator film again.
It hits the eject button and the whole thing just goes up.
No, and you just see it's like, oh, that's weird. There's something coming out from the top of the head. So it's like a little like ejector seat for the worm. No, I'm telling you. Well, that's why. So someone's like, so I'm sure you have heard the news. I know you've had internet access. So people were complaining about RFK Jr. not having a Secret Service detail.
I didn't know this. I don't really keep up on the news, believe it or not.
No, I'm only dude. Trust me, me neither. And then like you can't.
Dude, I always see you talking about the news. That's not even true.
No, fuck you. That's a lie.
You're always talking about current events, and most of the time when I learn about current events, it's from seeing like what you say, not even at me. I'm just like, oh,
dude,
cool,
I've been making it all up. Dude, no, you can't do that. My page is satire. No,
GNN Geo Dreams. It's all dreams. Melatonin dreams.
Yeah, no, I'd never do melatonin. I would never do drugs. But so people were complaining that RFK Jr. didn't have a security detail, and my buddy's like, yeah, no, that's really shitty. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Maybe just their SOP is they can just let his body die. They just have to save the worm. It's probably cheaper to just put the worm in a new body than it would be to protect RFK. So that's just the course of action. It's like, as long as he doesn't get shot in the head or something. And the worm
as long as the worm doesn't take a round.
If the worm takes a round, though, it's just two worms. So they're just twins.
The worm gets stronger. That's like that really, really, really old green text, or like it wasn't a green text actually.
The stick.
Yeah, the stick. It's like
Who
who
win,
would win,
Marine or
like
stick?
yeah, one Marine or a stick, and it's like Marine breaks stick in half. Now there are two sticks. Marine can never win.
The
Um,
stick wins every
I
time.
I'm gonna be honest. Like I don't care for RFK. I haven't really.
I don't care either.
I haven't gone in deep enough, but I've seen him just say a couple things here and there where I don't like him, and his voice just drives me insane, and I don't like listening to his voice. I would rather listen to Biden read me the Silmarillion than listen to RFK talk about literally anything.
Could you imagine?
No, I can't. Like honestly, it would be
All right, Siri, pull up the first page of the Silmarillion, and then have an AI Joe Biden transcribe it. Have him read it to you. You know what's crazy is Joe Biden has the opportunity to do something really funny right now.
What, put out worm traps?
No, you should just seize the government. You should just, dude. You know how funny it would be if
Just
he
call
just declared
timeout.
a coup. No,
it's like the
Starts
neighborhood
a coup.
kid that was super annoying when you'd be playing tag and you'd be
Yeah,
catching
yeah.
up to him when he called timeout so you can't get him.
No, you're playing video games and he just grabs a baseball bat and just destroys the TV. So you have to chase him and basically force him into exile or kill him. The kid. You have to
Dude,
hunt down the neighborhood kid. Not.
I forgot that I was I'm in like this because I play Ground Branch fairly often, and I forgot that I'm in like the Ground Branch modding Discord because I just like to see like what people post and what kind of new mods are out and stuff. And damn, it got ruined. But I forgot that this morning I put in like the mod request need Crocs mod to replace work boots because like one of the options for the shoes you can wear is like work boots. It's like Tim's, and I want to. Yeah, you can wear Tim's on the genocide, but I thought that it'd be funny to put Crocs in there, and then I forgot about it because I never really go in there, and it just kind of was like whatever, like fire and forget, and then I get a random message request from a dude, and it's like, "Hello, how are you? Can we discuss this?" And it was just a screenshot of me saying need Crocs mod to replace work boots. It's like.
Yeah, we can discuss it. I need you to replace the work boots with Crocs.
Like, can I get your reference image? And I sent him Crocs. I was like, I'm gonna be honest, like I was joking. I think it'd be funny, but I don't want you to waste your time. He goes, I can do it. And then he goes, what's your budget for this? And at this point, I don't want to pay to get Crocs because it's just gonna be kind of funny. But
what's your budget for this? Absolutely nothing. I thought you'd just do it as a joke.
Yeah, pretty much.
You are a online video game modder. You do not deserve any financial compensation.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there are people that will make mods for money. Like people will commission.
Yeah, but they're all porn mods, dude.
No, not in Ground Branch. They're like.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
Feral Concepts Bison Belt, but yeah.
Okay, look, what I'm saying is the people who make money off of mods, they're not making them for people like you and I. They're making them for the libtards.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. There was a thing that I had read one time where some guy was like I think it was actually like a 4chan post, but he said that he had gone to school for art or like graphic design, and he was really struggling to make ends meet, and he needed to pay for like his rent or mortgage or whatever, and he couldn't get enough jobs because he did like freelance work. He couldn't get enough jobs to make ends meet, and so he ended up just deciding like, all right, I'm just gonna do this one time and then go from there. And he went on to some like furry board. Let somebody pay him to commission artwork, and he did. I can't remember what it was. He basically said what it was, and it was something that was like totally. It was like it was like that Sam Hyde video where he's talking about how pretty much the only way that you can make money as an artist is to draw like Sonic the Hedgehog with a big wiener, and and so this guy said that he started making like furry art for this guy, and he wanted to stop, but this guy paid him so much money that he was like, I make like, he basically said that he could.
He made that man into a prostitute, dude. That's disgusting.
Yeah, I can't remember how much the guy said that he makes off of it, but it was a pretty decent amount of money.
$4.2 million.
It was like a couple $1,000 every 2 weeks.
Yeah, fuck,
just for this. And then the guy ended up recommending him to his friends. And so now like all these people ask him to commission artwork, and they pay him an insane amount of money.
You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy is that they can afford to do that.
I know that's the crazy part.
That's the
like,
scary
what kind
part.
of
It means
job?
that the successful. No, yeah, it means that a lot of the successful people around you are secretly degenerates.
There was.
If I had my way, we would burn them at the stake.
Oh, 100%.
Like you are going to be dragged. If you are a furry, you're going to be dragged out into the street, and you're going to be made an example. And your fursuit's going to be covered in napalm and destroyed, and then you are going to be covered in napalm and destroyed.
Tarred feathered their fursuit in front of them.
No, they'd love to be tarred and feathered. Are you kidding? Then they could be a bird.
No, not them. Their suit, so it ruins it, and then they get thrown out of an airplane.
I don't know, something brutal.
There was a guy at my old job.
Who is a furry?
Yeah, I'm getting to that part, but I didn't know that he was, and he was just like an IT guy, kind of strange, but nothing too bad. He was just like IT guy strange. He wasn't like anything weird on the surface. And then I had to like sync my contacts on Telegram for something, and then I saw that he was on there because it showed my contacts list, and he had like a furry.
Oh, dude, I've actually I've encountered that circumstance before.
Yeah,
someone in the army. It's like, whoa, dude.
Yeah.
What the hell is that? And I had to ask someone else. I'm like, hey, man, is this the right, like, I think it was like Skype or like, I don't know. It was something weird. And it's like, is this the right profile? And he's like, yeah. And then I just never said anything about it again. I was like, okay, I don't want to hear your justification, and I don't want to hear you talk about it. I don't want anything to do with this.
Can you imagine being like an NCO inspecting somebody's room, and they just have like a mannequin wearing a fursuit in their closet?
Could you imagine being a platoon sergeant inspecting your NCO's room? Or like something like that. Like even hot, basically the same thing, but worse because it's higher level.
Just the next level up.
The next level up, dude.
Yeah.
Do you imagine your platoon sergeant shows up that one day? Dude, no.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. It's such a weird thing. There's like a furry documentary, or no, the Brony documentary. That one is pretty interesting. It's on YouTube.
I think that's funny. I like the Brony stuff is so weird. It's funny. The furry stuff is like disturbing.
Well, they usually go
it's
hand
all
in
disturbing.
hand.
No,
I don't know. I don't know. Well, one, there was something where I was talking about with somebody before, and it was something online, but I was talking about oh yeah, it was the line between like what would be a furry and what wouldn't, because so at the time we didn't like gatekeep TV from my daughter quite as bad. Like we would occasionally let her watch a show as a reward, and generally the show that we would let her watch was Little Bear, which because I watched it as a kid, but it's very like classical music, like very slow. The colors are muted and nice, and it's slow. Like there's not a lot of jump.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah, so we would let her watch that as a reward until we basically realized that like she can't handle TV. She just becomes an absolute menace.
Really?
Yeah. So the only time that we ever really put it on was, like I said, is like it was a reward. If she was sick, we would like watch, an old like Disney movie with her or something. Or occasionally if we were like really behind on stuff around the house, like just daily chores, we would put it on to kind of distract her. But yeah, we stopped doing that. But anyway, there was a conversation that came up about like adults watching kids TV shows that have personified animal characters and how it's like basically borderline furry. And it's like, well, it's not. Like if I sit down and watch the show with my daughter out of like a nostalgic reason.
I'm so sorry. I've been looking for these sunglasses since I got back from the States, and I had no idea where they went. I just opened the random pouch in front of me, and they were in there. Dude, no, I just bought the lenses for these and replaced them, and then they disappeared, and I was so mad. I was like,
did you get the red
no,
up like
I won't
powder
blue
red
this time. No, I already did the red thing. Fuck you.
No, I don't care. But anyway, yeah, so it was a thing where it's like I'm not watching this to get like gratification out of it. Like I'm watching it because my kid's watching it, and like I'm not gonna go out of my way to watch the show on my own. But then it came up like what's the difference between somebody who's a furry and somebody who's just doing that? It's like, well, there's always like a sexual deviancy to it. Like I've never known somebody who's like a platonic furry. Well, I don't know any furries, but I've never heard of anybody who's like.
I guess the question is would you show this to your pastor? And if the answer is no, then hey man, I don't know how to tell you this, but you're a degenerate.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty good metric.
Like because okay, so let's go with the pretty sane Veggie Tales, right? All right, obviously churches do show it, and I don't watch it. I don't think I've watched more than like a couple of gifs of it or something. But like it's relatively known to be benign. Okay, and then like you've got you just keep going from there. So there's a certain point where it's no longer close to Veggie Tales and it's close to pornography, and then that is the point. That is the bridge too far.
Yeah, I would agree. It because that's kind of the point is like there's
kicks, man.
So when you start looking at like bronies and stuff, I feel like they go hand in hand with furries. Like I think that it's kind of a natural progression where somebody who's a brony, but it's like I don't like all the other stuff. Eventually, they're just going to go down that path because I don't know. I've never seen My Little Pony. The only time that I've seen anything from it is literally watching the Brony documentary.
I don't want to watch that. I can't believe you subjected yourself to that.
It was funny. It was hilarious. It's like a 45-minute documentary.
Like the Chris Chan documentaries. You want to talk about hilarious? Oh, dude.
No, I don't know who that is. I saw the articles going around when he like did something weird with his grandma or something. Dude. But I think that he was like
you have to understand, dude, that this is
who even is this guy? Is he just like a YouTuber?
Holy shit! Someone's gonna listen to this, and they're gonna understand why I sighed, because it's like a really long story, like a decade in the making, which is crazy. But long story short, he's an extreme autist who, instead of getting mental health or getting help for his clearly multiple mental illnesses, he got made fun of on the internet, and so he started trying to appeal to people on the internet, and he made like his own like Sonic fan fiction, but he was like the self-insert. No, dude, I'm telling you, it's insane. It's like the funniest and like most tragic thing you'll ever see. It's look at it this way. Imagine you watching like a brutal car accident, like clearly a ton of fatalities, but the entire thing is to the tune of like cartoon, clown, and circus noises.
Like Scooby-Doo chase music.
And so you're laughing, but it's a horrible thing to watch. That's what Chris Chan is like the entire saga.
So it was just some guy who was on the internet who became popular in different internet circles because people were making fun of him.
And he didn't understand that. And people started kind of taking it too far. And then like it started fucking with his head even more. But he was, dude, I'm talking, this dude's like nutter butter, man. The old boy's nuts.
What
YouTube, dude. This was fledgling YouTube leading to like I'm pretty sure he was posting his comics because he would make these comics where he combined Sonic and Pikachu.
Oh, so it was kind of like a Terry Davis, where he's just like a nobody who ends up posting stuff on YouTube, and then a couple people got wind of it, and then it became like a very
Yeah.
popular thing.
Correct.
Not because of
No.
the content that he was making, but because of who
And
he
then how
was.
he would react to criticism, because he was like he's like
Yeah.
a super autist. Like he's not like autist like when we joke around. He's like
Okay.
actually like there's something wrong, and
Yeah.
you know, his just getting more and more unhinged. Like he was always on a quest to get like a girlfriend or something, but it was like so bad. It was
Is that like when you play Skyrim and you have like the mainline quest and you don't end up ever doing it? You just do all the
no,
side
it's
quests?
nothing like Skyrim. You're not even playing Skyrim anymore, dude. You've glitched under the map, and the TV's on fire. And instead of fixing the problem, you decide to shove your hands into the TV.
You got flipped around into
It's
negative
worse.
Skyrim.
It's not even negative. It's like, dude, I don't know, man. It's like Hello Kitty Island Adventures too, but you totally buy into it. You're not even a Nord anymore. And my God, forgive me for saying this. You're a Khajiit.
I'll just hopped up on Skooma trying to sell shit.
They all forgive me for uttering these words. Dude, calling someone a Khajiit is like, God, what an insult, dude. This man is worse than an elf. He is.
I don't know anybody like with Skyrim. There's like obviously the default that you're gonna do is play like a Nord or a Breton or maybe like an Imperial, and just do your thing. Like I'm just a dude.
Of course, you're the hero. You're the hero of the story.
Well, then occasionally it's like, oh, like, fuck it, I'll play an elf character and min-max my archer, do something weird, or just like whatever. I played PC, so I'd use like console commands to when I get bored of something, and halfway through the game I just wanted to completely change everything. I would just do like a console command and change my race and redo things without having to like start the whole thing over. But I've never wanted to be a Khajiit or the lizard people.
Of course not. Dude, they really should have made it to where secretly behind the scenes the lizard people were running everything.
Yeah, that would have been. Have you ever seen that thing where it was like it was like Joe Biden in the Skyrim tavern?
No.
And you're like talking to him, and he just goes, "Nancy Pelosi, is that you?" And it just turns and it's one of the what do they call Argonians or something?
Argonian.
I'll find it. It's just like an Argonian woman staring back at you.
God, no, I don't know anyone who played as a Khajiit, but that's like a warning sign. Like if you went to like your buddy's house.
It's a red flag in
if
a
you went
person.
to a buddy's house and you're like, oh man, cool, Skyrim, and you like pull it up and you go to third person and you see they're a Khajiit, like, dude, you need to leave.
You just see the cat going.
Yeah, dude, you're gonna come back in and all of a sudden the name above his head is gonna be red. Like, oh shit.
Dude, I remember when Skyrim came out.
Fucking 40 years ago, dude.
It was 2011, I think. I think it was right around Christmas 2011, and I bought it because there was a Christmas Steam sale, so I got like a discount on it, and I bought it on Christmas break in high school. And in the first week, I played like almost 90 hours.
It was good,
and it's hilarious. It's hilarious to think that like logging a 40-hour work week is like, this sucks. Like I mean, I think that a 40-hour work week is pretty good. I think that the whole system that revolves around the 40-hour work week makes sense because you have, 120 hours in a week. You have a 5-day week. So you have, basically a third of your week is spent at work, and then the third is at home or, leisure time, and the third is sleeping, ideally. But like the fact that I played almost 100 hours of Skyrim in a week, because I didn't have any responsibilities at that time. Because I think that was before I could
Read.
I could get a job.
Read.
What? Oh yeah, that was before I could read. I still can't read, but just the fact that it's like that meme where it's like 8 hours of watching like YouTube aircraft documentaries, 1 minute of listening to my coworker talk
Yeah.
or something like that. And it's like the guy who's behind the computer and he just doesn't mind playing Skyrim for 100 hours in a week, but then having to sit at a computer 40 hours a week for a job is just agonizing. But
Yeah, but in Skyrim, I can
yeah.
shout at my quest giver and launch him off of a rooftop. But if I do that to my boss, I am
This is
never
true.
coming home again.
If somebody said that you can get one ability from Skyrim, whatever it is, what would that ability be?
Oh, fuck. I don't know, man. I was never a Magic nerd.
Neither was I.
Everyone knows that the only character you can play as is Nord Warrior. That is it. Nord Warrior. But, I mean...
Yeah.
You know what? Fuck you, Dragon Rend. Fucking summon it.
Oh, I was gonna say the ability I would choose.
That's your job.
The ability I would choose would be to be able to carry hundreds of wheels of cheese on me and eat them all as soon as I'm in pain, and it fixes me.
Yeah, but that's not an ability.
That's an ability in the game.
That's a mechanic. It's not an ability.
I'm able to heal myself by eating cheese wheels. God,
you'd vomit after like a third of it.
No, I wouldn't, because that's part of the ability. I've never seen my Skyrim character vomit.
Bro, fuck you. It's ridiculous.
That's what I picked.
No, you know what? I want respawning then. If we're gonna fucking play your stupid game, I want respawning. Oh no, I died.
Yeah, you need it,
dude. If you knew you could respawn like immediately, you'd be the most reckless person in the world. Like if you just had that ability, you'd just
run
around everywhere and just like, well, dude, I'd fuck with people. I'd let them like run me over, ragdoll.
I changed my answer. My answer would be quick save and quick load.
God. Yeah, my answer would be console commands. Fuck you, dude. Fuck you, asshole.
I'm going to take this chicken and make it 200 times its
I'm going to make it so that every time someone interacts with the chicken, it explodes.
Oh, yeah. The whole thing of quick saving and quick loading, if you're like, oh, I'm driving and I'm about to do something sketchy, quick save. As soon as you're like, oh shit, I'm gonna get hit, you just a quick load, you're back at that point. You already know that it's a bad idea and you just wait it out. You do whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah.
No, respawning would be more useful, because if you just fuck up once, you just die. Unless it would just load you automatically, right?
Yeah, I don't
Fuck it.
I don't know. I can't remember. But I don't know. I feel like day to day, I would rather be able to try out something that I want to do, and if it backfires, just go back to the point where I did something, versus have to die and then be like, oh, now I can use my one ability.
Yeah, dude, fuck, man. I mean, what greater consequences are than death? Quite a bit, actually. That's
embarrassment. True. Mild embarrassment.
Yeah, right, dude. What are they gonna do? I guess they could.
You could be sick at home and be like, I don't know if I trust this fart. Quick save, you're like, that's diarrhea. Quick load, you're done. It didn't happen, but you know not to trust it.
I guess. I suppose.
Yeah. Speaking of abilities and arcane arts, I found earlier today that people have been slamming Geo Trackers and like stancing them and stuff.
Dude, I'm surprised you can still find them. What does this have to do with arcade abilities?
It takes some sort of magic to make that happen.
Summon a Geometro from where? Where did this come from?
Yeah. So it's funny because I'm I think I'm gonna sell the Jeep. In fact, I pretty much
What,
am
they
set
put too
on it
many
just
ducks
because,
on your
like,
Jeep?
no, because all the ducks would just go to my daughter for free. Um,
I still
but
find that like the gayest thing in the world.
yeah, I do too. Which that was the other thing, was that when I was in my course, I would see, like, I'd go to the commissary to pick up like groceries and stuff, and I would see that people would have. Oh fuck, that reminds me, my DTS voucher was returned. I need to redo it. Um, but I would see that people would have rubber ducks on, like, just pickup truck dashboards. Like, every other person there drives a Toyota Tacoma or Toyota 4Runner.
Why are they doing
And
this? Gay.
I don't know.
Global homo strikes again.
The worst part about the duck thing is that it started during COVID as like a morale booster. Like, that's
Really?
the entire
I thought it was
lore of it.
older.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, it started in like
oh, that's
2019,
horrible.
2020. Yeah, during COVID, when everybody was all upset because they had to stay at home and they couldn't go out to overpriced burger joint number 387. They were like, let's start sticking ducks on each other's cars that we think are cool. But it was only like a Jeep thing. So it just became really
Of
gay really
course.
fast. And then all these other people were just like, oh, I'm just going to put a bunch of ducks on my thing or whatever. And it's kind of become like a synonymous thing at this point.
That's
And
crazy, dude.
I hate it. That and the
It's
waving.
Pride-
I don't know when the
Pride
waving
Rally.
started. Probably. I don't know when the waving started, but I hate it.
You
I hate
know,
being waved to. I hate when I see people with ducks on their dashboard
you should
waving
do
to
what my
me.
old high school buddy used to do. So he used to work at a sex store for a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah, no.
jeez.
So this dude worked at a sex store. He'd graduated high school. He was in college, and I don't really associate with him anymore. But old boy worked at a sex store.
I
No.
wouldn't either.
Anyways, he would get an employee discount. But this man was very mischievous. He's like the living embodiment of a like a gnome.
Of a Khajiit?
Fuck no. Absolutely not. No, he was like a little like gnome, except he wasn't little. So he would buy dildos with suction cups on them, and he would buy just all sorts of lewd and lascivious material, and he would just keep some in his car, not for their intended purpose, but he would put them on cars that park poorly in parking lots. He would put that he would, and it wasn't permanent damage, but it was ego damage to a lot of people.
It was enough to be
You'd be
upsetting.
well, maybe not distressed. I don't know. It's kind of like whatever, but you just rip it off and throw it on the ground. But
Well, I think that the mystery behind it
they
is
found
very
me.
high too, because you don't know like
who was the
I don't know.
dildo
I
bandit?
don't really want to think about it.
It's horrible.
Yeah, well, there's a lot
Horrible.
that goes into it. Like,
But yeah, he would do this. It was just
Yeah.
a car he didn't like. Like, all right, cool, you're getting it. And so I think of the same thing when I see the ducks, and I'm like, oh, you guys are just gay.
Yeah, I don't know. I hate the duck thing. But anyway, so I'm gonna sell it mostly
Buy a Geo
because,
Metro.
like, no, it's reliable. I know that people act like if you buy a Jeep, it's gonna be the end of the world and it's
Yes.
gonna blow up, but mine has been very reliable. I think it's also because I bought a manual transmission instead of an automatic, and I have a 2017, which is like one of the best years that you can get because it was the last of like the JKs before they switched over to the JLs. And whenever there's like a new model of any car that comes out, there's a bunch of bugs
fucking
that they need to work
Toyota
out.
killing the Tundra by making it retarded.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing too, is that so originally when I had bought it, I bought my Jeep in like early 2021, and I was looking at like Toyota, Tacomas and 4Runners and other 4x4 vehicles, and all of them were just insanely highly priced. Like, it was, I think that there was because this is 2021, I saw a 2014.
Oh yeah, but Tacomas are the worst. But I'm surprised you didn't have the same problem with Jeeps. Jeeps are expensive.
No, they're not. Like, they hold their value.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But all in all, like, they're really not that expensive.
Okay, well, go on.
So, dude, a 2014 Tacoma in 2021, so 7-year-old TRD truck with like 140,000 miles on it. They wanted like 36 grand.
Well, was it a TRD Pro or something?
I think it was a TRD something, but
Well,
even
yeah,
then,
but
that's like
those are like but they're the
that's
most
insane.
desirable models. They're like ready. I'm just
I don't
telling you
care.
why they are. I'm not justifying it either. You're talking to the
Actually, you know what? I don't even think that it was. I think it was an
no,
SR5.
eat a dick.
It was
People went
ridiculous.
crazy. The used car market unhinged. It's like the gear market. Now all of a sudden everyone's selling stuff. I wonder why. Oh no, I went into debt.
True.
What do you mean Night Serpent will put food on my table? No.
Well, it's also the other thing where
I don't have a base plate on my booty cap. No. I'm gonna kill myself.
I forgot about those. Yeah, I drive a lot like on road. And so it's like today when I was driving home from work, I was looking and my average fuel economy was actually pretty good. I get 20.2 miles per gallon. And I still think that I could definitely do better with something, that's like a more modern like SUV or like a crossover or something. And I realized too that when I had my Outback, I rarely got stuck in it. Like anytime I would go on sketchy trails or anything like that, like it was always fine. And so it's funny when you see memes that are like when 4Runner owners are debating on putting like even bigger tires on their rigs and like even more of a lift when they go on a weekend trip that's 98% highway driving with 2% driving around on like Forest Service roads, like gravel roads. And I mean, I get part of it too, is like the aesthetic or whatever. But anyway, I can get something a lot more efficient. Plus, like, there's also kind of the safety aspect where nobody drives manual anymore. And so if I got hurt or like if something happened or if like my wife needed to drive it or something with like the kids in the car for whatever reason, like,
I've brought that up as an issue before for like guys like getting like their utility vehicles for their groups or whatever. And I think we spoke about it on here, but like getting a manual was like a problem because people don't drive manuals anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I've had the problem too, not like a problem per se, but like I've gone on trips where I've
farted.
Someone has ridden with me and I drive and it's like I'm fine with driving long distances, but worst case, like there's like when we did like our force on force thing earlier in the year, you remember Joe that came on with like Brent and Doc Larson. So me and him rode together and on the way back, like I was so tired that we just stopped in like a random Taco Bell parking lot, ate, and we both like slept for 20 minutes in the driver in the passenger seat. And then actually it was more than 20 minutes. I think it was intended to be 20 minutes and I woke up very confused and then I just kind of threw it in drive and kept going. But you don't really have the option if you were doing a really long trip, or you have a much more limited option if you're doing a really long trip and you need to get somewhere within a time pack of like, okay, let's switch off, because it's like, who knows if the person you're driving with can drive one or not, and if they can they drive it well enough to not just increase the damage that's going to occur or decrease the lifespan of your clutch.
Yeah, it's the problem with your POVs. So that's why it's nice, like that's why fleet vehicles are fucking great, dude. Like just bare bones, like a bare bones fleet F-150, just automatic, fucking rolling windows. It doesn't have, it can brake, but I mean, like, who cares? If it's your daily driver, then like that sucks. But like if it's not your daily driver and you're able to get one, like as the solely a work or LARP vehicle, whatever you want to call it. Then,
yeah, and I would make the argument too that I kind of, at this point, having both had all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, I kind of prefer all-wheel drive.
I mean, as a regular person, like, it's obviously more useful because you're. How often are you driving off trails, dude? Like,
even if you are driving off trails, like I have done some pretty sketchy stuff in my Outback. I've seen other.
Well, you know what? It's your terrain
Subarus
though,
or
because
other
4-wheel
all-wheel
drive is
drive.
non-negotiable where I'm at. It's your terrain too.
What's that?
So like Miami, like anyone who's from South Florida, you go down to the humps, dude, and it's all just mud. That 4-wheel drive is non-negotiable. You go through that shit, and it's like just if you don't know that the ground is hard packed there, you're about to have a really bad fucking time. But
yeah, I can see that being a big thing too, is like terrain. But even like, I don't know, we get pretty bad snow, obviously. I know it's a little bit different, but for me, I think that being on like dirt, mud roads, whatever, even with snow, even with everything else, I think that tire selection is going to be a huge thing. And even, having the Jeep and then other vehicles that are like actual 4-wheel drive, like other Toyotas and stuff, I generally didn't get stuck because I have like KO2s and they're pretty good tires.
Have you considered that you also don't get stuck because your vehicle is at 4-wheel drive, so you're not going to do something stupid?
No, I'm talking about in the Jeep. There's been times where I've been like, I might get stuck, and then I just go for it and I don't get stuck. But then, the problem afterward is that, like, at the end of everything, it's like, okay, well, now that I'm in a part that's more
technical,
off the beaten path and removed from infrastructure and stuff, now I'm throwing it in even 4 high because it's really snowy or really, bad conditions or whatever. And I'm only getting 13 miles to the gallon. And like, yeah, you can always carry external fuel, but it starts to get to the point where it's like, okay, well, if the all-wheel drive vehicles in this little convoy of cars is still getting through it and they are getting better fuel economy while doing it, it's like, and then also like, it kind of sucks if I'm going to work and it's really snowy out, really bad, really slippery. Yeah, I got to throw in 4 high. It's like, oh, well, I'm on the highway and I'm going, 70.
I'll tell you this: when I had a
high.
RAV4, I'd use the fuck out of that thing.
Dude, that's what I found out is that people will get the newer, like Gen 5. They'll do it with all of them, but the Gen 5s are pretty cool. RAV4, so like 2018 and newer. And it's really big in Japan. Like all these pages I found that do this are all Japanese. And they'll like lift them and put really big tires on them and make them like, overlanding vehicles. And I didn't know that the RAV4 now has a TRD.
I didn't know that either. I've been keeping up. Dude, I can't keep up with the American car market anymore. Dude, I got to Island and it's like downloadable content for fucking cars. There's just so much shit here. I drive a van that I would have never seen in the United States, a Nissan Serena. You would never see this fucking thing. Huh. The dash is in Japanese. Obviously right-hand drive.
Nice.
I mean, it's a van. It's not really... It is about as bare bones as you can get. I'd say the most compelling feature on it was that it has an entertainment system with Bluetooth, but it's all in Japanese, so I don't know what it says. But I managed to, through trial and error, hook up my phone to it. So, my phone Bluetooth works fine, but everything else is in Japanese, and the radio stations in Japan are not on the same frequencies as the radio stations in the Western Hemisphere. So it only goes up to like 90 megahertz or whatever. But
so you can listen to like
it goes from like AM radio to like 90, and then there's no FM. Like I would have to get a completely different radio if I wanted to keep going, which is insane. Like I asked them, like, how do I get to the other channels? And they're like, you don't. What the fuck, dude?
You could probably buy like a different head unit.
What the fuck? My phone's already connected to it. Do I really need the radio?
Yeah, that's fair. My Jeep it's a 2017, and the Jeep Uconnect, this is like before they had CarPlay in them and stuff, like Android Auto. But the Jeep Uconnect is absolutely atrocious. Like it is so bad, it drives me up a fucking wall. And it was to the point where I was going to just replace everything in there to get CarPlay because like the lag for Bluetooth is terrible. So when I'm trying to watch YouTube videos while I drive, it's never in sync. So every single day when I go
famous sentences. Yeah, dude. I'm trying to watch this fucking 4-hour video essay on King of the Hill.
Well, yeah, like I'm trying to watch a deep dive on YouTube poops and the whole history behind them.
Have you actually watched a deep dive on YouTube poops?
I have never watched a deep dive on YouTube poops.
I was hoping you did, so you could explain it to me.
I do watch YouTube while driving.
I do it all the time. I don't watch it though. I just put it on and then listen to the audio. It's a video essay. You don't need to watch it.
Well, I have yeah, it depends what you're watching. Like I have like a little like a suction cup like phone holder thing on the dash, so I can put my phone in there, and I'll usually I have it kind of like in my field of view for maps, and have it up there, and if somebody texts me or whatever. But so I'll just kind of turn it sideways and watch YouTube. But there was one time where me and a guy that I was buddies with, we drove out to Montana. It was like 30 hours each way, and this was in my Subaru, and I found, so there's on the Subaru head unit, it was like the little radio and stuff, because it was a 2012, so it was way before like touchscreens were common in cars, and there was no like Apple CarPlay or anything, but there was a cubby, and it had a little flip up door, and we found out that if you flip up the door, it'll perfectly hold your phone, and it would fit between the volume knob and the tune knob, so it would kind of just hold it in place like perfectly. And so we watched, he had this like Netflix series that he was watching. I can't even remember what it was. It was something that I would never like go to watch just because it wasn't anything that interested me. It was kind of funny, but I have no idea what it was even about anymore. We watched like 3 seasons of the show just because we had it just set up on the on the thing, and it was pretty funny. But yeah, when I got my Jeep, and I there's no storage. Like the cubby storage is terrible. There's not like a good place to put your phone, especially if you're going to plug it in or anything. And so I have an AC inverter that I velcroed to the side of the center console, like between the passenger seat and then the center of the console area. So I'll plug in like a phone charger there, and then kind of like route it up, and then I route it like through the there's like a little handle above the glove box for the passenger when I'm doing stupid stuff, and so I route it up there because I'm very afraid that I'm gonna like go to shift and it's gonna get caught on the cord. The cord's gonna be like stuck in my phone, and I'm not gonna be able to break it out for whatever reason, and I'm gonna like get stuck in gear or something. It's an irrational fear, I know, but it's still something that I have. So anyway, I route it all up. But yeah, so I'll like watch YouTube videos, and the lag between the Bluetooth and the video is terrible.
Yeah, that sounds great. It sounds like I'm happy that you get to experience that in a Jeep, and it's been the linchpin for you steering away from it.
Yeah. No, it's a handful of small things. Overall, like it's a good vehicle.
Aerodynamics of a Lego.
Yeah, but at the same time, like I still get 20 miles per gallon.
Meanwhile, the 4Runner with better aerodynamics, we're struggling to re-enter the atmosphere if you go over 50 miles an hour.
Well, yeah, like what's what 4Runner did you have? Like what year? 2016 4Runner miles per gallon.
Abysmal.
17 city, 22 highway.
Okay, so mine was lifted 2 inches, and it had a roof rack. So it was not getting those numbers.
Yeah, I remember when on my Subaru, I used to be able to get, if I drove straight highway, it would get 30 miles to the gallon. And then when I chopped the bumper and put a roof rack on it, it got like 24, 25 highway. But yeah, no, I don't know. Like I have, what's a 16 4Runner ground clearance? 9 inches, 9.6 for 4-wheel drive models. So I think that I have like 10 something inches. And yeah, the aerodynamics of like a microwave. Just a cube.
It drives like a refrigerator. Good for you.
Yeah. But I don't get like death wobble.
Oh, that's good.
It's not gonna flip or anything. Like I get, around 20 miles to the gallon. I can theoretically take the roof off or the doors if I want to, which is at one point I was thinking about trying to make like a mount to go into the hinge for my door where you can mount like a 240 on it or like a 249.
I saw someone do something the other day.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people do a lot of things.
If they're listening, I just want you to know this bothered me. So they put a 550 cord rope, or obviously cordage, and they hung it so that it would be a loop hanging from the top of their door, their vehicle door, so you could use it as a rest for a rifle.
Are you playing?
No, I'm playing with staples.
Are you doing it right next to the microphone?
Wow, that's crazy. How does it pick that up? But like I'm watching the little like voice, the little ring around the icon, and like I'll do something that I swear makes noise sometimes, and I don't see a peep. And then I'll do something that I don't assume makes any noise, and then you're just like, yeah, dude, you're playing with change. I don't get it. Anyways,
I think a lot of it is like the frequency.
No, it's clearly what it is.
It makes.
But so they have this 550 cord hanging from the door, the top of the door. I'm assuming from the shit handle or something. And it's to rest your rifle muzzle so you can shoot from the inside, which sounds good on paper. It makes sense. Except,
I don't really think it makes sense.
Let me finish my statement. So it makes sense until you realize the fact that the car is not bulletproof. It is a thin piece of metal, and you're not in a good position to really shoot out anyways. And then if you have to leave the car, you have this really cool thing that's about to snag it to the fucking car. So now if you're trying to leave, you're stuck. Or you've melted this 550 because you were shooting, and now you've soldered your rifle to the fucking thing. I don't know what page did it. And you know what, man? I mean, I didn't say anything, and I hate to put them on blast, but like the idea stuck with me, and I thought about it.
I don't understand why. Was it on like a Jeep where they had the doors off or something?
No, but that would be worse. That would be 10 times worse. It would be worse. Fuck, man.
That the theoretically, I can see where that would make a little bit more sense because you'd be able to rest your rifle there and get a steadier shot than if you're just trying to freehand it driving off road. But to your point, like with doors and stuff, why don't you just roll down the window and?
Well, the idea that I think that they did it because the idea was that was not comfortable or stable or easy to index off of. But man, look, dude, your daily driver is not a bulletproof vehicle. Those doors are gonna fucking eat bullets. No, I know your Jeep especially is not a bulletproof fucking vehicle. Your ass is asking if you can take the fucking doors off of it, dude.
How do you know what I've done to it?
A spy camera in your Jeep.
You buy the netting doors. You buy some AR-500 plates.
You just molly them on there.
Duct tape them.
Fuck.
Use some 550 cord loops. Make them stable.
Fucking car's a screaming metal death trap, dude. Fuck that. Look, I appreciate their ingenuity, but it's just one of those things that like everyone I've spoken to that's been shot at in cars has said the same thing. It's fucking horrible. And the last place you want to be is in the car. You want to be as far away from that car as possible. That's the prevailing wisdom. I don't want something to snag me to the car because there's already a ton of shit that you can snag on getting out of a car, like a seatbelt or fucking, all sorts of little trim and shit like that. And, when we were doing, are you ready for it?
Oh, I don't have anything to take a shot of. I have water.
Okay, so part of one of the courses in Darcy is dealing with
Okay.
getting out of vehicles in an emergency, and there's a whole, it's pretty much its whole day, and it's cool, it's fun, you learn a lot, how to stage your weapons, stuff to think about, and you realize very quickly that if you're in gear, like you're wearing your fucking equipment, and with your rifle, there's a lot of shit inside cars that just wants to keep you tethered to the car. And if you're getting shot at, that's the absolute last place you want to be, because now you're stuck to something that's eating bullets and is a nice big target and isn't really particularly bulletproof. So I don't particularly like that idea of the 550 cord, like monopod, whatever. I mean, I guess it could work, but I mean, I don't like the implication of it. I don't like the fact that the implication is I'm going to stay and fight from inside this vehicle. And it's like, dude, like, unless that motherfucker's an up armored Humvee or an MRAP or a MATV or something, I'm not doing that shit.
And that's kind of the problem with vehicles, is that they are, I mean, people have been struggling with the same thing with like horses too and stuff. Like it's nothing that's not, it's not like a new concept. But the ability, like the level of capability that you have with vehicles is exponential compared to without vehicles. So, for example, like I guess this will be my new thing to take a shot. That thing that we did in March.
Yeah.
It was most of the reason why it was kind of like a good thing was because it was against like a completely different group of guys that do completely different things and have completely different
SOP,
methods
methodologies.
Like I don't know what they're gonna do, right? I don't know who they are. But we were thinking about it. So what we did like a decent infill. Like we hiked a while and then set up like a little patrol base in the woods. And then the weather was bad enough, so we didn't do anything at night. So we bed down for the night, wake up, start doing recon to find where they were at, and went all around the place just on foot. We went and staged an assault. And then at that point in the like timeline for the exercise, so we were just like, all right. And everybody pretty much just this, massive firefight, and everybody got rid of all their blanks. And that was kind of that.
Mm-hmm.
That. We just kind of, called index at that point, and everyone went back to the staging area and hung out. So I was thinking about, okay, one, if this was real life, like it wouldn't just be, an overnighter or two overnighters. It would be quite a while of trying to find, like if there was actual things at stake, it would be a lot more time to try to find them. Because one, we were in a limited area, but we had a much larger area than we probably should have for the size. It was like basically a squad on squad exercise, and we had 5 miles of woods in the winter, so it's quite a while. So by the time that we got to the point where we were ready to assault them and everything, we've been walking all day in the snow. And so like everybody's feet were pretty much wet. Everybody was pretty much cold and all of that. And then not to mention the fact that we still had to go and recover vehicles to aid in our assault as kind of like a key thing. And on the way back, like we picked up a group that was, patrolling an area to try to find the OPFOR. So we picked them up. And then after the firefight, if it was a real life thing, you're going to have casualties. Even if you take one casualty on a squad versus squad thing where you don't have, good odds against them, like under ideal conditions, you would, or under very, very, very good conditions, you'd still take like a casualty. So then that's either, okay, now we're going to leave you here with a couple guys to guard you while we send dudes back to get vehicles, we're going to try to carry you this whole way, or like you're just going to die. And so, just having vehicles more closely integrated with everything, it's the only thing that really makes sense, because you can do longer infill, so you can be more offset from the target area and drive to where you're going to do like a shorter offset infill. So even if you're going to walk like a mile or two, you don't need to set up your camp like a mile or two away from where you think that the enemy is. You can do logistics, so you can send guys out of an area to go refill water and stuff where it's more permissive, or even if they're going and collecting water like from a natural body, or they could go if the local area has stores and stuff that are still going, go in there, buy bottles of water or whatever, come back. You transport food, more radios, batteries, like the 5 Bs of logistics, all that stuff, transport guys. Like the ability that you gain with vehicles is so
of course.
high. Plus, not to mention that you can have like, the Instagram overlanding rigs, and you can live out of them. Like you can fit 4 guys in a rooftop tent, 4 guys in a truck. You can carry a fire team in a car and still sleep them, and like you're all self-contained. But then as soon as you take fire, it's like, I need to get as far away from this thing as possible if I can't just gun it and get out of the kill zone in a respectable amount of time.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, we all know that the future of all this shit boils down to vehicles. That's just what it's always going to, it's what it always is ever since the advent of the fucking car. Ever since the advent of the technical, rather. Ever since someone made a technical and then had the... I mean, fuck, dude. I don't even know where I'm going with that topic. Yeah, you need cars. Sorry. I got distracted. I saw a video.
Geo Tracker Technical.
Sorry. I was just watching a video of Hulk Hogan ripping his shirt off at the Republican National Convention. I sent it to you, by the way. But it just like came on. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Dude, what a spectacle. It's pretty funny.
This whole thing is kind of goofy. I saw that thing. I don't know how much of this is true or how much of this is just random stuff I see online, but somebody had said that Biden, if Biden was advised that if he got sick to drop out, and then like right after that they're like, oh, you have COVID now, and then now he's dropped out of the race.
Well, you know what? I saw a thing that he dropped out, and then I saw a thing right after it said he wasn't. So I don't even know, dude. Who knows? It's fucking anyone's game right now. It's anyone's game.
Yeah, it said, dang, even Obama is telling him that he shouldn't run. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on. It's kind of that thing where I still have my hopes in who will win.
Yeah, I'm voting for Obama, dude.
Think that it really, yeah, I'm same. I don't think that whoever wins, it'll really make that much of a difference. And I guess from my point of view, like I was an adult during Obama's presidency, Trump's, and then Biden's, and the stuff that I've noticed has been very little. Obviously, like during COVID, I was just talking about this earlier. There was a point where gas was like 70 cents a gallon for a little bit, and that was pretty sweet. But I also think that it was because everybody was just at home and not driving around, so gas prices went down because the demand and the skewed. But in general, I mean, I think that candidates will say, like Trump in 2016 was talking a lot of stuff about the border and the southern border and all this stuff that he's going to do and how he's going to be like super pro gun and everything. But then nothing ever happened with the wall in the South that was one of his main selling points. And he passed the ban on bump stocks that was recently overturned. So I think that they're always going to spout very, left or right, depending on what side of the.
Well, they're trying to get elected right now, so they'll say anything you want to hear.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. They're saying what everybody wants to hear, and then once they get into office, everybody kind of picks like a very moderate route. Like, funny enough, the fact that with Biden in office, we saw Roe v. Wade overturned and the bump stock ban reversed. It's like, okay, I don't know how. Obviously, I don't think that he was behind that.
No, he wasn't
that
behind
it. Was probably
it's literally,
it's
literally. I'm not going to get into politics, but yeah, part of it was Supreme Court justices appointed by. Yeah, I know we're in it. I don't know, man. Ever since I moved, I've been trying to like.
Yeah, it was appointed by Trump, which is, it seems like that's kind of more of an important.
Well, that was a huge deal.
For,
that was like one of the biggest deals with Trump's getting elected in 2016 was that those Supreme Court justices were like, everyone was kind of thinking like, man, they're getting old. It's about time that they're going to go. And then sure enough, they left. And Trump was able to get his guys in the door. And of course they freaked out because they knew that these are going to be the problem with that once those guys are in, they're there for quite a while. So
whatever happened with that, what was his name?
He's there.
You remember that?
Yeah,
whole thing?
he's there.
Oh, I didn't see, like, my whole thing with that too was that it was obviously just a dig at him, because now anytime that somebody hears his name, they're gonna know that he was wrapped up in the whole accusation and everything, even though he was still deemed innocent.
Yeah,
it's just like a. But I remember, wasn't he originally appointed to be like a Supreme Court judge or something?
Yes.
Yeah. So is he a Supreme Court judge?
For a while.
Is that good or bad?
It's good. Well, I mean, it's good if you're conservative.
All right.
I think it's good.
Yeah. I don't know how many people listen to this that aren't conservative.
I'd be surprised.
In the traditional sense. I mean, I guess there's a lot of like libertarian types that may, but I'm not even like, I mean, obviously where most of my politics lie, but I don't really
fucking gay
associate. I don't really associate with like conservatives, Republicans, anything like that, because I don't really think that they can serve that much. I don't think that there
is a change in the conservative demographic. Not in the demographic, that's not the right word. There is a change in the conservative, like, there's a schism. There's definitely a schism. And one side's calling the other fascists, and the other side's calling the other side sellouts, or neocons, or whatever you want to call them. And neither is quite true, but it's very interesting to see that that dichotomy getting deeper and deeper. I mean,
I imagine a lot of it too is just generational change.
It is.
Like, people from our generation are becoming more things, and like the younger Gen X's are prominent.
Well, the guy that Trump wants to be the guy that he picked as his running mate, JD Vance, he's fucking like, he's into some shit on Twitter, dude. It's funny as hell. He follows like Bronze Age pervert.
Yeah. I saw somebody said that.
He's like, holy shit, dude. He's a fucking Baptist. That's funny.
Man, I hate Bap. I didn't know. We've talked about this before, but I didn't know that when this thing that was like a BAP term for something that was bad.
Yeah, no, I didn't know either.
Like the matriarchy.
Yeah,
and it all came from Hill People Gears. They called like a series "The Longhouse," and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then it just kind of took off. I think that the very first thing that we were gonna call it before we came up, it was like a couple days later. We're like, all right, let's change it.
Big
It was
Smokes
Hyperborean
Crack
Goobers.
Palace. Oh my god. No, we should have named it Big Smokes Crack Palace. After my favorite phrase from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
We could have called it a Civic.
That would have been good. But
Geo Tracker Technicals.
Geo Tracker.
Small shortwave radio transmission.
Anti-tank Geo Tracker Metro.
ZSU 23 Tech 4 on an Isuzu
Yes.
Trooper.
Me with the Zeus anti-aircraft gun, vaporizing everything on I-95.
That's seeing all of the that's one of my favorite things about Middle Eastern conflicts is seeing all of the weird vehicles that they come up with, because it's all just dudes welding in sandals, like retrofitting everything, and it's hilarious. Or even the kind of some of the ingenuity and like the weapons. Like there was that thing that they made. It was a mortar out of a water heater, and it launched propane tanks.
Yeah. What was the Hell Cannon?
That's hilarious to me. I don't know what they called it.
Cannon.
I saw a picture of it. That's hilarious to me. Yeah, it's insane to me, like how, no matter where you go when people are doing and whatnot, like they're gonna come up with really ingenious ways to just inflict more damage or to make ends meet to some degree. Like, oh, we have this need for an anti-air cover. These Geo Tracker, these Subaru Bajas, like we'll make it work.
Me and the Subaru. I would love to see like Japanese K cars used as technicals. I need a Honda. Cool, I need a Honda Beat with the fucking toe on it. Pretty sure flip the toe, the Beat. Just flip it.
A 1980s Firebird with Hellfires on it.
Oh fuck yeah! That'd be cool. That reminds me of that game.
That was the biggest thing.
Vigilante 8. There was a Twisted Metal. Okay, there you go. There's Twisted Metal.
Oh yeah,
there was a knockoff on the N64 called Vigilante 8 or something like that.
No, I played Twisted Metal. I had Twisted Metal 2, and I just went crazy on that game. Me and my buddy used to play the Paris map on Twisted Metal 2, and I remember I was always Axel, the dude that's just between the two big wheels, and he was always this car. I can't remember what the name of it was, but yeah, we would just. I need to look up all the maps because I remember that there was Paris. Two maps, but yeah, I had it on my PS1 because I got a PlayStation 1 from my uncle, and he had all these games. We'd play it, but I don't Twisted Metal 2 level. I don't remember any of these ones. Antarctica.
What the hell? It reminds me of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, where there was like an Area 51 level. That shit was sick.
I don't remember that. See, my problem too with most of these games, like all these older, PlayStation games and stuff, was that I didn't know generally that you could unlock more maps. So I would just play the default maps, and I would never do like the campaign or anything. Like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 is solely free skate. I've never played the campaign in that game. The first Tony Hawk campaign I ever played was in Underground 2, because I was old enough to realize that you could unlock more things by doing more things. Where is Twisted Metal maps? Twisted Metal map Paris. Was that? Oh yeah, it was Twisted Metal 2. So yeah, there's all these these like maps that it says existed that I don't remember. I remember there was one map that we had that was like you were in like a whole like fire thing. Hong Kong subway system, L.A., Mao, Paris. Oh yeah, Amazonia. That's what it was. I remember that level.
If you ever do that again, I'll fucking kill you. Damn it! There you went. Did it again. I know.
Sorry, I sneezed. I'll probably cut it out. I gotta
You need
sneeze
to
again, dude.
stop. Disgusting.
Why is it disgusting?
I don't know, man. I just thought it was funny to say that. It made me laugh.
What's how was your hurricane?
Dude, it was a whole lot of fucking nothing.
Nothing ever happens.
Nothing ever happens. The West has fallen. No, so we prepared heavy. So I was in Tampa, and the hurricane hadn't even formed yet. And then the day we're leaving, we hear about it. And then I get down, and then the assumption is, oh, it's coming. So I had about 4 days to get ready. I had 4 days to get ready because I got back on Sunday, and then Monday we all started getting ready, leading up to July 4th, which is when it hit on that Thursday. So I'm hitting the fucking ground running. All my shutters were in the attic, and they're all aluminum shutters. There's a fuck ton of them. If you've ever dealt with shutters for windows, like a single window will probably take anywhere from like, at least on our house, I think it'd take like 12 shutters per window. So, there's a lot. So you're bringing all these aluminum panels down. And I have to bring them down from the attic. And there's two ways to get up into the attic. There's the rickety pull-down staircase, which is rickety. And it sucks because I'm alone doing this. Or there's the hatch that leads to the garage. So the hatch was right above my workbench. So what I would do is I would slide the long pieces, and then I would slide the shorter pieces alongside it until it was enough that like I couldn't reliably ensure that these short pieces wouldn't just like fly off and fall and hit the ground or whatever. So then I would go back down, and it's fucking tedious as hell. But I got them all down. They are no longer going into the attic. That was stupid. The previous owner did it. Moron. So I do all that, and I start putting up shutters. It fucking takes forever. And then some of the previous owner, some of the windows.
Are these like exterior shutters?
Yeah. You put them on.
I've always seen them styled, but I didn't know that they actually.
There's different types of shutters. This turns into a long conversation, but basically you have you've got like the Porfag method, which is nothing. And then you have people that think that taping the window is going to help keep it intact, which it doesn't. Then after that, it's plywood. And, we had to do it on a bunch of our windows because the previous owner removed the screws for the wing nuts that screw the panels onto the window. Because they're not just placed on there. Like, there's a bracket up top that holds them from the top, and then you have to screw them in on the bottom. And they all are layered, so it feels like one robust sheet, so they don't fly out if wind catches under it. Anyways, the previous owner, to build the deck, got rid of them in the most important places. The French doors in the backyard and some of the windows in the backyard didn't have it. So plywood got screwed onto there. It's a fucking pain in the ass. Whatever. The rest had the aluminum shutters. Then I went through the house and I brought everything up off the ground. That was important. So nothing in I'd say nothing within like the first 2 feet from the ground was like valuable or could if it was valuable, it could be replaced. Like I wasn't about to fucking take out my fridge and put it on the table. You know what I mean? Like it's not an option. So it did all this prep, and I'm doing it mostly by myself, which, whatever. It was a lot of work. Then finally we don't even stay at our house. We go to my in-laws because their house is a little higher, and They also have like hurricane windows. It's like a very nice state of the art house, and it has a generator, which is the big deal because we assumed power was going to go out. It's a safe assumption that with a hurricane, your power is going to go out at some point.
Yeah.
And we were expecting this to hit at a category 4, then it downgraded to a 3, which is great. But we were expecting it by the last like 12 hours prior, like the day of the storm, because it was hitting that night on the 3rd, leading into the 4th. We were expecting it to be a category 3 and hitting the island, which is not good. The joke in Florida was
what's the difference? I've never been in like a hurricane. What's the main difference between the different categories? Obviously, like
so you have tropical
severity of
storm.
it.
Yeah, you have it's just the wind speed. So you have tropical storm, which is in Miami. I wouldn't put up shutters for a tropical storm. I don't fucking care. Then you have Cat 1 through 5. 5 being like they just detonated a nuke, and then 1 being like you could pick whether you're going to put up shutters or not. And a lot of the time, we did not put up shutters for category 1s. For category 2s, depends. Maybe not. Category 3 and up is when it starts being a big deal. But this would have been our first This was our first hurricane in this house, so we had no idea what was going to happen. And then we went to my in-laws and we stayed with them, and it was cool. And we always had power. We slept fine and air conditioning, everything, which is a big deal because, as you know, I have a daughter, and I'm sure taking away your air conditioning to sleep is a recipe for problems. So, in a tropical island where it gets very hot without the AC, AC is king. So the next day comes, July 4th, and it's rainy. We're looking outside because they don't have shutters; they have hurricane windows, so they're just impact proof. And it looks pretty bad, and we keep waiting for it to get worse, and then it never got worse. And then eventually, we kind of figured out that when the power never went out, and the storm had moved to where we were only getting outer bands, and our part of the island was like the furthest from it. So our part of the island was fine, but like the southern part of the island got fucked up. Not like terribly, but like if you had property right on the water. Like some people had like the waves crash through their living room and like move all their furniture to like one side of the house and stuff like that. Like the whole first floor is ruined. Wow. But I mean, dude, everyone wants beachfront property. No one wants to think about what happens when the beach decides to come into your property.
Yeah. No,
but I mean, if you have the beachfront property, the idea is either A, you could find somewhere else to live because you have the money, or B, you have the money to fix it. So, and usually that's true. But it's not always the case. There are low-lying areas of the island which are poor people that have been here for a while. And that shit floods and they get fucked. So it is what it is. But
so what were like some of the
takeaways?
Yeah.
Yeah, be
like,
lucky.
If it were as bad as they said,
pray to God, dude, and be lucky. That was the most bad. Okay, so I was worried about flooding. One of the things I made sure to do is I have a fireproof and waterproof bag, and I put all our important documents in it, and we brought photo albums. That was important stuff. I packed up 3 bags for myself. I packed a rucksack, like a Mystery Ranch rucksack, just because it was a big backpack, and I filled it with like clothes, assortment of regular clothes and work clothes. The usual thing, like if you're packing for a trip. Made sure to pack like extra pairs of socks and an extra pair of boots. Then I packed a duffel bag that was nothing but tools, angle grinder, all my drill batteries, my drills, a fucking hatchet, a crowbar, stuff like that, because I was expecting gloves, that sort of thing. Because I was expecting literally the moment the wind stopped petering off below 60 miles an hour, we were just going to go out and like survey the damage. And then the idea was that if the damage got really bad, we had all the earth moving equipment that my wife's family owns in like one central location that was easy to access. So we would just have to clear our way to that equipment, turn on the equipment, and then start clearing the roads. Because the most important thing in stuff like this is making sure that the roads are clear. Because if the roads are clear, then your emergency services can move around, your utility companies can move around, and obviously you as a person can move around. So you're, enabling that freedom of movement. So that was the biggest deal to me. So I was prepared to like be wading out in the water and like operating fucking backhoes and bulldozers.
Yeah.
Even just driving trucks around and dragging shit out of the road with like tow straps and chains. So needless to say, that didn't happen. We drove around in the middle of the storm because we kind of realized that like, oh, dude, this is fucking nothing. Like it was like I'd say if the storm had like a timeline, like if it lasted an hour, this would have been like the 50th minute or like 45 minutes in. And we were just like, nah, fuck this. So we drove around for a bit and we surveyed the area. And dude, honestly, the biggest casualties in my in-laws neighborhood was a mango tree fell. And then a lot of palm fronds and a lot of just standing water. But I wouldn't even say flooding. Like flooding would be kind of a harsh word because flooding implies damage to anything. Like this was just like big puddles everywhere, and then none of it was in anyone's house as far as we could tell. Some people lost potted plants. It was not a big deal. So then we left the neighborhood.
We've had pretty bad wind and storms even here, where like trees have fallen on houses.
Yeah, and that's a word. That's a big.
That actually happened. Something that actually happened in Michigan a couple of weeks ago, where there was a storm. I think that there might have been like a tornado even, but the wind caused a tree to fall onto a house and ended up killing a family's toddler.
Yep. And it sucks because where else are you going to go? A lot of people don't have options. That's why you see a lot of people hire landscapers to cut down tree branches and stuff, because a lot of trees with their big canopies, it acts like a parachute, and then the tree just flips because it's a lot of leverage that the wind is getting on it. But we didn't really see that with this storm. The other thing too is in tropical, like in the Caribbean, a lot of the trees that are planted, if they're native trees, the native trees are like adapted to dealing with hurricanes. So like palm trees, they flex, they bend, so you don't really see palm trees falling on their side often. Usually just see them stripped of the leaves and then just like a bare trunk. But the tree's still alive. It just drops all of its palm fronds. So stuff like that. But we drove to my house and I went inside, and I knew that it wasn't a big deal because I have cameras in the house and I could still access them, which meant two things. Number one, we still had power. Number two, we still had internet. So once I saw that, I was like, dude, like, fuck this, man.
I was worried over nothing.
Yeah, I told my wife, I'm like, we could have stayed at home. But, we don't really know this house, and we know that their house was built to deal with hurricanes. And this one survived Ivan, which was like, Ivan's the fear, right? So apparently people killed themselves here, a few people right before the storm, because I think they were scared because they grew up hearing the stories, or they went through Hurricane Ivan. And Hurricane Ivan was like the entire island was leveled. Like it was just flattened. I wasn't here, but everyone has the same coffee table book. It's like Paradise Destroyed or something is what it's called. And it's like pictures of Ivan and different parts of the island and the response and stuff like that. And this was like the worst case scenario. You had people talking about like there were looters around, people were getting shot. My wife's grandfather, I think he shot someone.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they were trying to rob his house, and they shot him with a shotgun. But he shot like bird shot, and the guy was like 100 yards away, so it like peppered him. And like it didn't kill him. The dude was on his way out. Anyways, what happens during a storm stays in the storm. And there's no proof to any of this, so whatever, fuck you. But
this is a made up story.
Yeah, it's gibberish. It's the ramblings of an insane man.
The ramblings of a man on skooma.
Skooma addict. But so apparently people killed him. Dude, Ivan was bad. Like some of the pictures and some of the stories I heard. So like no matter whose house, unless your house was extremely elevated, like you had damage to it. Like it was just insane. Like 2 foot of water. Like inland, people had 2 foot of water. Some of the main streets the hurricane had washed up so much sand and debris that people didn't know they were standing in the street. They were just standing on piles of debris and sand. They had to come with bulldozers and like, you know, those pictures of in like really like snowy areas where like the snow is so tall that like when they come with the snow plow, it just is, it's almost like a little like canyon, like a trench that you're just driving in.
Yeah.
It was like that, but with debris and sand. Like they were clearing out so much sand because obviously that's all the shit that came up from the ocean and from the beaches. And like a lot of people died. People's houses were just leveled. They're just gone, like stripped to bare lumber. My wife got evacuated off the island after the fact. Like they went through Ivan, and then like the next day, like a family friend that owned a private jet flew them out of there. It was like some shit, and then they were gone for like months because like there was just nothing to come back to. My father-in-law was explaining to me because he owns a construction company, so that naturally the most busy time you could ever have for the company is post-storm. And he had one of his offices was a trailer, and this was 2004, I think. So a lot of your internet was still coming in through a little phone line. And his trailer, like he prepped everything, but he forgot to unplug stuff. So he ended up getting to the trailer, and by a miracle, the phone line was still connected to the trailer, but it was like taut. And like the computer, like basically everything was hooked up. And he was checking and he's like, okay, this isn't super damaged. Like there isn't a ton of damage here. Some standing water, but there's still power, but it never got high enough to actually get to the outlets or anything. Mm-hmm. But just on a whim, he turns on his computer and he notices that the trailer ran on a generator. So that's why he had power in it. But he notices that he was connected to the internet. So he immediately just started ordering everything he could from Miami, like literally making orders for freight. Well, it was all like construction material. It wasn't like bullshit. It was like he was ordering like pallets and pallets and pallets of raw materials to bring to the island. And he said that like he was one of the first people to get stuff to the island, like because he was one of the first people that could make an order. And so he had already figured out like what he needed, and it was just like a constant stream of stuff being brought to the island and then the work to build. But it took about a year before things were like kind of back to normal because you had so much destruction. You know, like I said, they were talking about looting and a lot of areas were unrecognizable. And you can talk to a lot of guys that have gone through hurricanes, and one of the good advice I got from someone was get GPS coordinates to your house and then make sure you have the address written down and then get photos of the area, because he said that some places what storm was it? It hit Fort Ian, Hurricane Ian, when that hit a few years ago. He said he lives around the southwest coast of Florida, and he said that some places he would go to, you couldn't even tell. Like the debris was just littered everywhere so evenly that you couldn't tell whether you were standing on a house or you were standing in the road. So he said, like, get GPS coordinates, because at least you could kind of figure out where you used to live and you could kind of start digging. Because he said that like trees were gone, power lines were gone, houses were gone, everything. And it's by far, it has to be one of the most like terrifying things to see everything you've owned in your house is just gone. It's just littered, destroyed.
Yeah, that's a good point. Is the figure out what GPS coordinates and everything. Plus, like something on that. So I have like a tablet that I got in one year for Christmas. It's like a cheap like Android tablet, but I basically set it up to use
ATAC.
No, not ATAC. I can't remember what it was called, but it's like a map app. I mean, this shows you how much I've really used it. Mostly because, like in my Subaru, I had a mount. I had like a tablet mount for it, and I don't have one now. But I downloaded all these maps on it that were solely offline maps. That because anything most of these phones and tablets and stuff still have GPS in it. That was kind of the main thing.
Yeah.
I made sure that this one had a GPS, and it was like $120 or $140. And I would download all these offline maps and use them to navigate while I was driving around. So that way, like, you can download maps and books, even like one to teach you how to do stuff, like, you know, how to basic like plumbing and electrical and construction type stuff. And then not only that, but just for like entertainment, have a way to charge and everything, which, you know, kind of goes back to the vehicle. Like, if you have a vehicle, you have a way to charge for a while. I don't really know like how you'd preserve batteries for a long time, or like how, you know, attainable gas would be, because obviously you can put fuel cans in your garage and let them last forever. But
Which, by the way, I need to use the fuel cans that are in my garage right now that I filled for the storm.
yeah,
I need to find. I need to use them
Exactly.
soon.
So you have a generator, right?
No, I don't have a generator.
Oh, okay. If you were
I'm
to
not
get a
made of money.
generator,
Yeah,
what's that?
I'm not made of money.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. As far as I know, I'm not like super knowledgeable on generators, but they make diesel and gas generators, right?
Yes, and propane.
Oh yeah, and propane.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine that the diesel ones are probably like more efficient, and I think that you can store diesel for a lot longer of a time. And also diesel isn't combustible, which is a pretty big deal. But then it's kind of like to do that if you only have a gasoline vehicle, not a diesel vehicle.
I mean,
I don't know.
yeah, it would kind of be counterproductive. Because of course you would. That's one of those cases where you want a lot of commonality. But
Fucking buy a diesel. I'm gonna buy a diesel Volkswagen Tiguan and lift it.
I hate you. Don't ever say those words to me again.
Why?
Hold on, what's the Volkswagen Tiguan? I don't keep myself appraised by the foreign vehicles, even though I'm whipping the foreign sometimes.
Yeah, don't you drive an
My
Audi around
wife's,
sometimes?
my wife's car is my father-in-law's old Audi. Whipping the foreign.
Whipping the foreign. You posted something on your story and you were driving.
Yeah, right after the storm.
Pointed out, I was like, damn, dude, whipping.
Yeah, no, it was right after the storm. So they're building a development in the same neighborhood that my in-laws live in and helped build. And so they're building a sub-development in there that's like condominiums. They're like townhouses, really, but they have garages in them, and there's like 20 of them, but they're not occupied yet, and they're not sold yet. So they're on higher ground, and obviously they have garages, so they're protected, right? So what do? He goes and he parks every vehicle inside of each garage. Just parks the car in each garage. So my wife's car was in one of them. So we had to go pick it up. And I just went during the storm because I'm like, I'm not sleeping here with you guys tonight. Like, sorry, it was great. It was cool. But like, clearly nothing happened. Because nothing ever happens.
Yeah.
So I went out and grabbed their car and drove it back. It was just pouring rain. I was driving around. And I'm like, I whipped the foreign. You know, like just shit posting.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. Seems like most things, you get worried and then you prep a whole bunch of stuff. But then it is kind of nice that your entire livelihood wasn't destroyed.
I'm glad. I feel like we over prepared, but it's a great dry run for preparing for the next one. I went to the supermarket like the day the hurricane was coming, and everything was still
all the toilet
stocked.
paper gone.
What?
Was all the toilet paper
A lot
gone?
of it was gone. People buy the weirdest fucking things. It was like COVID. It was the same shit, but people buy the weirdest things. Like,
well, that's the joke.
Yeah.
Like nothing nothing surrounding COVID implied that you were going to poop any more than normal, and these people were buying like an entire trunk full of toilet paper. Like we actually, if I remember correctly, we had gotten we didn't have to buy toilet paper forever. And I had
Dude,
asked my
hold on.
wife, I
So
was like,
speaking
what,
about
like, why don't we have to buy toilet paper? Because we didn't stock up during COVID. And she was saying that her parents did, and so they were just like giving us toilet paper.
yeah, dude. So speaking of that, I bought toilet paper for the first time today.
You've just been using your hand before that, right?
Dude, fuck yeah. Just using my hand, dude. That's what the sink in the bathroom's for. That's what that little thing at the top of the toilet is, where the little lever's on, that big reservoir. It's to wash your hands after you wipe your ass with your hands.
Well, that's what you could do. Like if you wake up in the middle of the night and you need to go to the bathroom, you toilet backwards so that way you can rest on the tank.
Mm-hmm. You can rest your
You
elbows.
put a pillow on there and everything.
Take a nap.
Yeah.
No, so I bought toilet paper for the first time, and I realized I had no idea what good versus bad toilet paper was. And there's a myriad of prices. And I'm like looking at it, God damn, what the fuck, dude? Because my wife panic bought a little bit of toilet paper. Actually, I don't think we panic bought, but what ended up happening was that somewhere during COVID, I decided that I was going to start using baby wipes, like to wipe my ass. So it was a lot more compacted. I ended up ordering.
That's why you can't afford a generator.
Yeah, no. So I bought like a pack of like 30 something baby wipe, like individual package things. And funny enough, that finished like that took a while to finish too. I had that. I bought it off of eBay for like, I think it was like $35 shipped, and it was enough baby wipes to get me through like a few years. And so my wife kept forgetting to pause the subscribe and save for toilet paper. So we kept getting toilet paper, and I'm like, dude, like, fuck, we're not going through it this badly. And she's like, I don't know. So we had our closet in the townhouse filled with fucking toilet paper. And we've, at a certain point, I told her, like, do not, just cancel it right now, because like you're wasting money. And so she canceled it. And so we've been just using that toilet paper. And ever since we moved, we've been using that toilet. We brought it with us. We shipped it here.
Jeez, how much toilet paper was it?
I think when we brought it here, I think it was. These are packs of 6 rolls. I think it was somewhere. Look at it this way: we've been here about a year, and we just now ran out. So
wow,
yeah, like I've finally had to buy toilet paper today, and I was like scared to do it. I was like, what the fuck, dude? So, the bounty is over. The COVID bounty is no more. And it was like Amazon brand, so I can't even get that shit anymore. Not that it was exceptional, but yeah, dude, so all this fucking stuff. So anyways, people are at the supermarket panic buying 3 days prior. Like, okay, so Monday before the storm, I'm there at the supermarket because we were traveling. So our fridge was empty because of that shit. We were gone for like almost, I was in Michigan for a few weeks, and then I was in Florida for another week. And of course, your ass is in JTAC school or whatever, the TACP school. Sorry. So,
dude, every single time that you come to the state, I'm gone or I'm doing something.
Yeah. So I go to the supermarket, and I'm just trying to get the regular stuff, milk, eggs, all this sort of shit. And there's like a million people at the store buying all this fucking shit, buying like tons of bottled water, which is still, to me, the litmus test for someone who's unprepared is seeing how much bottled water they buy. I'm like, dude, fuck, man. Like, it's okay if you buy 1 pack, maybe even 2 packs. I can excuse that. But when you're just filling your cart with nothing but bottled water, like, dude, you're like, I have to assume that if you're buying this for your household, you're making a mistake. Like, it's not efficient, and it's, what are you going to do? You're going to shower yourself with like 3 bottles of water? No, it's stupid. Especially when that shit comes out of the tap.
Yeah.
And water isn't cheap here, but it isn't that expensive either. So people are panic buying all this shit. People are getting into arguments in line, which I'd never expected here. These people are really nice here, and they were just getting into arguments in line, like, "Oh, you skipped me this and that." But just one of those things that I could just feel the stress in the air, and I'm like, God damn, dude, I was trying to do groceries. And then I go the day of the storm. The day of the storm, the supermarket was going to be open like 5 hours or something. And everything is stocked and the store is empty. Like there's just people there, there's employees, and there's like, it might have been as busy as like a Tuesday at like 8 a.m. Like just empty. So I fucking did my groceries. I took my time, bought snacks, extra stuff, and then went back home. And then, I put stuff, I plugged my freezer in, I got all this shit, and nothing happened. So I just was stocked up well. I was happy. Nothing ever happens.
Moral of the story.
Yeah. But yeah, dude. I mean, it was a great test run, and hopefully I don't have to use it again this year. Usually the late in the season is when you get hurricanes. That was the weirdest part about it, is that it was early as fuck in the season. This doesn't happen. Like, this does not happen. Like, getting storms in late June, early July. It's very strange. But we got one.
Well, now you know.
Yeah.
The things that you need to fix when a real storm comes through.
I need to stop wiping my ass is what I need to do.
That's, yeah. If you just take the no wipe pill, develop like an appropriate layer of crust, you'll never need to wipe again.
Perfect. That's disgusting.